right, y'all. So I want to spend some time with you guys today and talk a little bit about the ebbs and flows of diet. Okay? Now check this out. There is a particular mistake that people make way too often when it comes to dropping body fat. Okay? Now we know the basics, right, of thermodynamics. We know how this works. If you want to drop weight, if you want to drop body fat, cut your calories, right? Go into what is called a calorie deficit. This is a good idea. Now, typically, I would advise a person to cut their calories by, let's say, 10, 15%. Right? You ease into that calorie deficit, and then you train the right way, you train smart, you recover, you sleep well, all of that type of stuff. You drop body fat and build muscle. That's great, right? However, the biggest mistake is being in a calorie deficit for far too long. All right, so an example of this would be, let's say, a grown man, okay? An adult age male or female, where your calorie intake is supposed to be at a certain point. Let's say for a guy, maybe it's supposed to be at 2,600 calories a day. And for that woman, maybe it's at 2,300 calories a day. But you're eating like 500 or 700 or maybe even 800 calories below maintenance. When I say maintenance, I mean maintenance to, eating enough food to maintain your current lean muscle mass and hormonal production, right? That's what I mean. But you've been under eating, you've been in a deficit of like 5, 6, 7, 800 calories for an entire year. And you're just plateaued and not dropping any more body fat, right? A lot of people make this mistake, right? Get on a call, grown man's like, yeah, I've been eating 1,900 calories a day. It's like, really? Like, yeah. What's your weight and height? What's your body fat percentage? And I do the calculation, and it turns out their maintenance calories is like 2,700 calories, right? According to their lifestyle and all of those numbers. But they're eating like 1,900 or something like that, maybe 2,000. We've been doing that for an entire year and have been plateaued for a very long time. Now, this is a bad idea because what happens is your body is going to adapt to everything you do if you do it long enough, right? Like the same way like some guy who's been practicing Muay Thai his whole entire life, and he conditions his shins by just kicking a bamboo stalk, right? Kicking a bamboo tree, just repeatedly, bow, 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 and he does that every day for years, right? It's not gonna hurt anymore. But if you were to just go and kick the bamboo tree with your shins the same way he does, that leg would be done for a week. That would be excruciating pain. It would feel like stubbing your toe, right? But when he kicks that tree, it doesn't feel anything. It doesn't hurt at all because he's just been doing it for so long, right? It's the same thing. The longer we have a habit, we become conditioned to it to the point where our body doesn't really have much of a response to it anymore. So, let's say a person has gotten fat because they just overeat a lot of junk. Then one day they decide they're going to stop overeating a bunch of junk, right? And they cut back on that junk food big time. Guess what? They end up dropping body fat initially. They end up losing weight real quick in the beginning. Boom. If you've lost a lot of weight in the beginning of your journey, you know what I'm talking about, right? But there comes a point in time where your body just gets used to being in a calorie deficit. Your body gets used to what you've been doing. Now, the fear of like what happens is, let's say you've cut your calories and that caused you to lose weight. And you plateau for a little bit, you go, okay, well, maybe I need to cut more calories. So you cut your calories again, and you lose more weight. Then that stops working. And you go, oh, well, I want to continue losing weight because I got more to lose. So you cut your calories again for a third time. And what happens is you follow this pattern where your calories were up here, and then you cut, you lost weight, you cut, and you lost weight, you cut, and you lost weight, and it starts to slow down, so you cut more, and you lose a little bit, and it slows down, and you cut more, and you cut, until you're just now, like, you've just cut your calories by nearly 1,000. right? Maybe you was eating 3,000 calories a day and junk food and stuff. Now you eating like, 1,800. Ladies, maybe you eating like 1,200 calories a day and just struggling to lose weight. And it's because everything else in your body has slowed down, right? Your metabolism has slowed down, which means that your whole entire endocrine system is slowed down, right? Your adrenaline production has slowed down, right? Your testosterone production is slowed down. Your estrogen is through the roof, and your cortisol is through the roof in order to compensate with the stress in your body from under eating, right? Your endorphin levels have collapsed, right? Your serotonin levels are low. Maybe your sleep quality, you can go to bed and wake up 9 hours later, but you only got like 4 hours of good quality sleep, right? This happens with people. And you just feel high stress in your body. Maybe you feel depressed, you feel anxiety and these different types of things because your hormones are out of whack, right? Maybe your thyroid is out of whack, right? Because you've just cut so much. You've just been under eating for so long that your body is in poverty mode. This is essentially what this is, right? You put your body into a state of poverty from just under eating so much. And the thing too is that a big problem that I see is that people cut their calories and then they don't eat enough of the stuff they're supposed to because they've cut their calories so much. See what I'm saying? Like a lot of times maybe you're not getting enough vitamin A, you're not getting enough vitamin C, maybe you're not getting enough vitamin D, K, you're not getting enough iron, magnesium, copper, all these different types of things maybe you're not getting. You're not getting enough glucose, whatever the case is. And then if you're exercising, because a lot of times, you'll cut your calories as much as you can and then stay active, right? So you're going running, you're going hiking, you're riding a bike, you're going and working out in the gym, maybe you're doing at-home bodyweight workouts, you're doing HIIT workouts and all of this type of stuff, right? So you're expending all of this energy and you're not really putting enough back in. So you're working from a position of poverty, right? Your food intake is poor. And more than likely, your training performance is poor, right? Or it's nowhere near as good as it could be. And so what happens is that if you're under eating and then you're training hard also, you're definitely not gaining any muscle. And you're crushing your hormones. So if you do this for a year straight, maybe 2 years, right? A year and a half, whatever the case is, but you've been doing it for a really long time, your body gets used to being in poverty. So now your body functions like somebody in poverty. And if you've been doing this as a means to lose weight and you're not losing weight anymore, guess what? You got to stop doing it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity, right? Now here's the deal, and I feel you on this from the bottom of my heart. I just want you to know, I feel you on this. Because you hear me, you say, well, if cutting my calories is not what I should be doing, what are you telling me? I should increase my calories? The next thought in your head is, well, if I increase my calories, I'm going to get fat. I'm going to gain weight. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to gain weight. What are you talking about, right? Now hear me out. Now, this may cause you to gain 2, 3, 4 more pounds. Maybe even 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds back, right? Maybe not. But the thing is that now what you've done is you've wrecked your metabolism and you've wrecked your hormones so much that cutting your calories is not working anymore. You don't have any other options. But now your journey is not about losing weight anymore. Now it's about getting healthy. That's the thing. You need to reset your body. Okay? When I advise people, you want to initially lose weight, cut your calories by 10, 15%, and do that for 8 weeks or 10 weeks, and then return to baseline. Eat at maintenance. Let your body get used to eating a substantial amount of food. Let your body get used to eating the amount of food you're supposed to be eating. If your maintenance calories is 2,600 calories, get used to eating at 2,600 calories. right? Get your body used to hitting that mark, that baseline, without gaining weight. Because to get there at that point, you will gain weight. But the difference is you're not going to gain all of your weight back. Now, here's the caveat. You increase your calories, but you increase your calories using good quality food choices. So if you got to increase your calories by 500 or 800 calories, I'm not just saying, well, just eat a couple bags of chips. No, right? What I'm telling you is make up those qualities and make up that quantity of food, those calories, with good quality foods. You see what I'm saying? So maybe you put in a quarter cup more quinoa. Maybe you put in a quarter cup more buckwheat. Maybe you put in a half a cup more lentils or a quarter cup more lentils, right? Maybe instead of eating the 2 kiwis, maybe you eat 3 or 4 kiwis. Maybe you eat 3 or 4 kiwis and then you add more berries, you add more grapes. Maybe you just binge eat a whole bag of grapes one day. You just sit down, in a nice place out in nature, and you just go to town on some fruit, right? Maybe you eat a half a pound of almonds or something like that with some fruit in one shot, right? But you use whole foods that are nutrient dense, mineral dense, vitamin dense foods, where you eat foods that reduce inflammation rather than create it, right? Put more foods in that stimulate and regulate hormonal production, right? If you've got your estrogen levels through the roof, maybe you want to eat more fiber. You want to have more fiber in your diet. You want to eat more cruciferous greens, right? You want to eat more mushrooms and things like that, right? These foods that help remove excess estrogen from the body. Maybe you have a whole block of tofu, right? Like 14, 16 ounces of tofu for dinner, right? Something like that. Maybe you do that. Maybe instead of eating the half of an avocado, you eat the whole avocado. You see what I'm saying? And do that. You're gonna have to do a little bit of trial and error, experiment a little bit. Now, when you increase your calories, if you need to raise your calories another 5, 6, 7, 800 calories, you do it over a gradual period of time. So if you're used to eating, where you're only eating 1900 calories a day and you need to get to 27 or 2600, maybe you do 1 week where instead of you eating 1900, you eat 21. Then the next week you go from 21 to 23. Then the next week after that you go from 23 to 25. You ramp up, right? And so what happens is the same way you train your body in the gym, it's the same way you train your body through your diet, right? It ebbs and flows, right? So when you're week 1 in a training program, that intensity and that volume or whatever the case is elevates gradually, and then it comes back down, and then you go into your next phase and it comes back up. It ebbs and flows, right? The same way the sun comes up and down, it goes from day and night, you go through your cycles. Everything in your life is cyclical, right? You don't just eat the same amount of calories all year round. Nothing is flatline like that, right? It ebbs and flows up and down. But start putting back those minerals, start putting back those vitamins, right? Start putting back that glucose back into your system. Let your body knows what it feels like to live in abundance rather than poverty. Because poverty is not going to get you a wealthy, healthy looking body. It's just not how it works. You withhold from yourself, right? But then you reward yourself. And so you've been cutting your calories and killing yourself and training hard for so long. There needs to be a reward for your work. If you've dropped already 30 pounds, 40 pounds, if you've dropped 50, maybe even 100 pounds, reward yourself. Give yourself a break. Look, it's hard on your body to build muscle and drop body fat. That's a lot of work. That's hard on your body. Your body literally needs a substantial amount of energy to even metabolize body fat. It takes a lot of material and a lot of energy for your body to build muscle. And you can't build muscle in prolonged poverty. And your body is not going to let go of body fat in prolonged poverty. I mean, this works the way like your spending habits do, right? Look, if you had your hours cut at work, or you took a pay cut at work, right? And so your spending power is not as good. Guess what? Your spending habits will change, right? If you ball and you got crazy money, you know what? You can just go ahead and buy stuff. You can go shopping. You can go on that extra vacation, but you take that pay cut, all of that goes away. The same way you're not willing to spend that extra money that you know you don't have in the budget anymore, it's the same way that when your body is in poverty and it's taking that theoretical pay cut, it's not going to be so quick to let go of that body fat. Your body is stressed. So just try it. Gradually go back in the opposite direction. Use healthy foods to do it, healthful foods to do it, good quality foods. But when you increase your calories in this position, make sure that you're very cognizant of your food choices. So maybe instead of eating white potatoes, maybe eat sweet potato. Maybe you cut out wheat and replace it with something else, right? So for example, let's say you cut out wheat and add barley. You cut out wheat and add quinoa. You cut out wheat and you add buckwheat. Maybe you cut out oatmeal and add buckwheat. Maybe you cut out pinto beans and use chickpeas, lentils. See what I'm saying? Maybe you cut out iceberg lettuce and you swap that and you put in arugula, right? Maybe you eat more cabbage. Maybe you have more raw meals, right? Another thing to do also is you implement intermittent fasting to work on your insulin resistance if you have it. So you establish an eating window. Maybe it's an 8-hour eating window. Maybe it's a 10-hour eating window. If you're dealing with, let's say you've been cutting your calories for a really long time and you start increasing your calories, maybe you don't really have much of an appetite. So rather than eating, at 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then, you eat at like 12 or 1 o'clock and then you eat again at like 8 or 9, right? Instead of spacing your meals out so wide, you could really make it fun. Have a smaller eating window. So you start eating at 12 or 1 o'clock and you go all the way till 8 or 9 o'clock. And you can just have fun and enjoy your food and just slam down food within that time period. So for me, I don't do portion control. Right? I either eat until I'm full and satiated completely, or there's just no more food. Right? That's what I do. So what I do is I have 2 meals that are like 1,400 calories. See what I'm saying? So if I have 2 meals that are like 1,400 calories, that's 2,800 calories. See what I'm saying? If I have 2 meals, that's it. Just 2 big meals. And this makes meal prep very easy for me. And I can just add or subtract from either one of those meals in order to, depending on my calorie goal. So let's say for you, if you're increasing your calories, maybe you start with those 2 meals. And if you have less meals, then you have a less of a chance of missing a meal. If you got to eat 5 or 6 times a day, maybe you miss one of those meals. If you miss one of those meals and one of those meals was like 200, 300, 400 calories, then guess what? How are you going to make up those calories? You're just short for the day. See what I'm saying? But if you got 2 meals, you cram it all into those 2 meals, it's less of a chance of you missing meals, right? So you wake up in the morning, you fast all the way till 12, 1 o'clock, and in that fasting period, right, you're working on improving your insulin sensitivity and things like that. If you have insulin resistance, this is a good thing to do. So you can still possibly cut body fat that way while increasing your calories. So now you have a twofold solution here. You work on metabolizing body fat in your fasted state, and then you work on increasing your calories within your eating window. So that's pretty much all I'm going to leave you with for right now. It's a little something to think about there. And that's pretty much it. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take this to heart, okay? If you fit the bill for this and you think you need a change because what you're doing currently is not working, let's get on it.